Right. I am starting a recording here, just so everyone is aware, so I can share this with other folks who are interested. But again, thank you all for joining us. My name is Lucas Giese, and I am the Eco3 VISTA Program Coordinator. And we're here today just to talk a little bit about what it means to host an AmeriCorps VISTA member at your organization, and I'll talk a little bit about the opportunity to host this summer with the Equilibrium 3 VISTA program. So I'll go over a little bit of what an AmeriCorps VISTA is and does, what that can mean for your organization, and then talk through a little bit about the application process and answer any questions you all may have. And so with that, just want to do a couple quick introductions. My name is Lucas, the program coordinator with Equilibrium 3, and I was actually an AmeriCorps VISTA member with Eco3 for a couple of years, working on our energy programs before starting this role. So I know and have lived the AmeriCorps experience. Can kind of give you some of the background on what it means to be a member of AmeriCorps, as well as working on the administrative side. And then we also have Jody Slick, who is the Equilibrium 3 CEO, and she is kind of our general program manager, but I'm kind of the day-to-day person who handles this side of things. So really, to introduce the AmeriCorps opportunity, AmeriCorps VISTA is a program within the Corporation for National and Community Service, CNCS, which is a federal agency that works to organize volunteers across America in a number of different programs, one of them being AmeriCorps VISTA. So VISTA is sort of one flavor of AmeriCorps. You may be familiar with others, such as state and national programs like Green Corps, or the Reading Corps and Math Corps, or the NCCC, Civilian Conservation Corps, that do different types of work. However, we're talking today about AmeriCorps VISTA. VISTA stands for Volunteers in Service to America. And we have a mission to expand organizations' capacity to fight poverty. It's kind of a unique mission that all of our work, in the end, whether it's focused on health or education or environmental issues, all of them have at their core an anti-poverty mission. VISTA members will come to our communities to serve for 1 year with an organization, expanding their capacity through different measures that we'll talk about later. As a member, they have to be 18 years old and pass a national background check. And in exchange for your service, you qualify for a living stipend, a modest living stipend, I should say. And at the end of your service, an education award that can go to furthering education or paying off student loans. So some good benefits beyond the maybe modest living award that they do give you. Here we have a picture of most of our current cohort who are engaged in a day of service on 9/11, helping in some community gardens. But we find that our members come from all over the country, various stages of life and career, but dedicate a year to serve in the community. And I just want to kind of really start off by talking a little bit about some of the impact that our members have had. We're coming up on our 5th year of AmeriCorps VISTA members with the Eco3 VISTA cohort. Really, I think this slide gives a pretty broad overview of some of the work that our members are doing, from the metrics of volunteers recruited, grants and fundraising dollars earned, to really looking at improving organizational systems and providing resources to communities. Our VISTAs have been engaged in a lot of things and have had quite a huge impact on our communities. Couple to note here, whether it's building mentor programs and training, recruiting new mentors, to creating communications and building partnerships with the city of Duluth, or finding partnerships within within the VISTA program. So a number of our members working together to create joint programs that actually secured over $90,000 in grants for community food initiatives. So huge impact, and we'd love to expand and share that that capacity building that VISTAs provide beyond sort of the core of our program so far. So to pause a little bit and give you sort of an overview of AmeriCorps VISTA and some of the structure that we operate under. Like I said before, AmeriCorps VISTA is a national program that kind of sets funding and performance measure and policies, some strategic direction. And Eco3, Equilibrium 3, my organization, is what's known as a sponsor organization. So we apply to the national program for federal funds and then act as an intermediary to specific host sites. Host sites are the ones who do the day-to-day work with VISTAs. So everything from daily supervision, setting up tasks and setting goals, and kind of the basic structure there. But Eco3 provides the different supports and resources that our member needs that can really be the value add to a VISTA's year of service. So everything from helping with professional development, as well as working with sites to help train and expand what a member can do. So you all, if you are interested and apply, would become one of our host site organizations and would have the opportunity then to recruit your own VISTA member through the Eco3 VISTA cohort. So a couple of just basic eligibility questions. Our host sites must be a nonprofit or public agency that is serving in northeastern Minnesota or northwestern Wisconsin. We've had members serve primarily in the Duluth and Cloquet region, as well as some members scattered through St. Louis County in Minnesota. But this year we are really focusing, and AmeriCorps is really focusing on expanding those members and that capacity building to rural communities, as well as throughout northeastern Minnesota, northwestern Wisconsin. Every host site must have paid staff and have the capacity to oversee a VISTA member's work. So providing that daily supervision and guidance for a member as they take on those tasks. Host sites also must be able to provide some sort of work environment and ensure, as we are in a global pandemic, that teleservice can happen effectively if that is the arrangement. We also ask that, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but that a host site is also able to commit not just to a single year of VISTA, but really explore a 3-year project timeline. So 3 years of VISTA members to build some sustainable capacity throughout that time. A few other requirements to note: there's a $6,000 program fee for AmeriCorps VISTA, as well as a $150 stipend that we offer to our members for professional development that does come from a host site as well. Throughout the year of an AmeriCorps year, we do have a number of trainings and supervisor meetings that you'd be required to attend, as well as helping us facilitate some of the reporting and communication with our VISTA program staff. Kind of with that overview, I should say, feel free to throw any questions you have in the chat. If as they come up, we'll also have some time at the end to talk about your specifics, but I do want to turn a little more now to what a VISTA member actually does. And One term you'll hear a lot and quickly get sick of, I'm sure, is the term capacity building, which is really foundational to what a VISTA is and how they approach anti-poverty work. I think my slides are a little out of order here, but we'll jump to this one. Capacity building is really best understood when compared to direct service. So when we think about programs that address poverty, many of them are focused on serving community members directly. So they are distributing meals or building a house or addressing some of the immediate needs of the community. Those activities would be considered direct service. They are directly interacting with the community member. What a VISTA, however, is really engaged in is what's known as capacity building, or creating the efficient and sustainable systems that can serve a community in the long term. So these capacity building measures are not directly engaging, but really looking at organizational ability to do some of the service that you already do. So in terms of capacity, some examples may be, instead of building a house directly, direct service, a VISTA member may build the capacity of an organization to build a house by recruiting volunteers or raising money. Instead of teaching a financial literacy course, a VISTA member may be engaged in creating the curriculum for that course or creating communications around that opportunity. To dig in a little deeper, we sort of organize a VISTA member's service into a few different buckets. One of them, one capacity building area would be creating effective and efficient programs and services. So that's really looking at your organization's operations and some project management that can help you do your work more efficiently, serve the people that you serve better, and then take that step back and really evaluate those processes. Another common area of capacity building that VISTA members are engaged in is expanding your organization's scale or reach. So that's really focused on communicating with the people that you serve, with your networks and partners, and creating the materials and structures to help you not only do your work, but talk about and communicate those impacts as well. So everything from managing volunteers to building communications and marketing systems are things that our VISTAs are engaged in. And another very common capacity building area is in terms of leveraging resources. So our VISTA members are often engaged in fundraising or grant writing, working with donors to help you sustain the work that you do in community. Now, I gotta say, a lot of the photos that we've included in this slideshow are of course, direct service. So here you have a lovely photo of a member planting a tree. Well, I should note that that is not capacity building. It would be considered direct service, but there are a couple days out of the year that are service days that we have our members out in community digging holes and picking up trash. So it's sometimes hard to capture in a photo someone creating a communications plan, but a little easier to get them as they plant the tree. So note that our some of these photos may not look quite like capacity building. So I talked a little bit about the VISTA timeline that Eco3 operates under. And this is a sort of overall project timeline that we try to establish with host sites as they are considering hosting an AmeriCorps VISTA. And this timeline really reinforces the fact that a VISTA member is not a permanent staff member, but is really a temporary resource for an organization to build some capacity, and then hopefully that capacity in those systems that the VISTA is engaged in can actually outlive them after a third year and after the VISTA program contract is ended. So this just gives you a little bit of a sense of kind of the arc of those 3 years. We often see, or a sample of a 3-year timeline could be something along the lines of the first year having a VISTA member identifying community needs and planning and creating some of the materials that would be needed to implement a project or a program. That second year then would be an opportunity to actually implement that program, and the VISTA member would could be engaged in communications and volunteer management and some of the other things that would go along with that implementation. And then in that third year, the goal of that year would really to be evaluate how that implementation went. So then looking at different ways to iterate the program, enhance the sustainability or effectiveness of the program, and then also look at ways to continue the program once that VISTA capacity has ended. That's kind of the broad timeline. To zoom in on a single year with a single member, we generally have our cohorts beginning at the beginning of August, with the cycle running 1 year. And about this time, April and May, we are engaged in designing positions. So working with our host sites to create what's known as the VISTA assignment description, basically the framework of a VISTA member service, and then working through May and June to recruit our VISTA members. We bring those members on in August, get them set up with you all, and then throughout the year, roughly quarterly, we'll have site meetings that will bring you, a site supervisor, and your VISTA member together to talk about the project and any issues that may be arising. I think the last thing to note on that timeline really is that Eco3 as a program, we're here to really facilitate a member's service with you and can provide the resources and structure that can be needed to make that a successful experience for both your organization as well as the VISTA member. And so that can take a lot of different forms, but everything from working with members on professional development, connecting them to community resources as they serve, or working with you as site supervisors to create more effective positions is really the goal of Eco3's VISTA program, my role, and the rest of us on the VISTA program team. So kind of finally with that general introduction, I do just want to mention quickly our application process and some of the components to that. This is a new system for us that we're still working out. But we have moved to an online application on the Eco3 website that will give you a couple, that includes a couple different components. One, some just general site descriptions, as well as a narrative about your organization, as well as the need for a VISTA. And then what's known as the VISTA assignment description. This is kind of the base foundational document of a VISTA position. And it really outlines the goal of a VISTA member's term of service, as well as breaks that goal down into time-bound objectives and member activities. That VISTA assignment description is focused on just a single year. So we ask that you consider that goal within that first year of a VISTA and assign those dates and activities accordingly. Next in the application is a position description, and this is a document that is actually broadcasted through the AmeriCorps system to potential applicants. And so what's important to note about the position description is really that it's should be eye-catching, exciting, kind of inspiring for potential candidates, so that we can help find the best candidates for your position. And then finally, the fourth application component is related to performance measures, which is sort of, if you spend some time in the VISTA world, in the AmeriCorps world, you'll come to learn is sort of the bureaucratic bane of our existence. But these measures are the tools that we use to report to the federal government on our VISTA project progress. So we're asking you in the application to identify 4 measures to capacity building, one related to volunteer recruitment and management, and the other to cash or in-kind resources leveraged by your VISTA member during that year time. And those can be sort of in conversation as we go here. After the application process, there'll be, you'll hear back from us here at the Eco3 VISTA program, but then we move into, if accepted, a process for recruitment and through May and June, as well as then on-site orientation and training for both the supervisor as well as the member when they join us in August. With that, the only thing I'm missing on this slide is our application deadline, which is May 14th. And we ask that you visit the Eco3 VISTA website to complete that application. If you have any kind of technical questions or issues, feel free to reach out through that process. Now that is just about the real quick 25-minute introduction to AmeriCorps VISTA and the Eco3 VISTA program. I would love to open it up to all of you and any questions, comments, or concerns that you might have about joining the Eco3 VISTA program. And feel free to put those in the chat or unmute yourself and throw them out there. I do think we have Jody on the line potentially. I don't know if there's anything I missed in this. It's kind of the first time I'm giving this presentation, the full deal. So I hope I covered it all.
I absolutely think that you covered just about everything, except for those of you not in the know, Lucas was very humble when he talked about the impact that VISTA members had, and that's because you know, he left out some amazing projects that he actually worked on, like getting the Lincoln Park Solar Garden in place, as well as the Pay It Forward PPE project that recruited over 1,000 volunteers to make 225,000 face shields. So you know, there's lots of good things, and I wouldn't have expected him probably to, you know, humble brag on those things, but I will.
Thank you, Jody. Yeah, I should have stopped the recording before that moment.
Now you can send it to your grandma.
Yep. I'm gonna